That budget including also massive spending on projects favoured by key political allies as well as job creation. It addresses a top concern for voters. And remember, they denied Prime Minister Modi's BJP a majority in Parliament for the first time in 10 years. Bloomberg Economics has lifted its GDP forecast thanks to what it describes as a pro-growth spending plan. Let's get more on this. Our senior India economist Abhishek Gupta joins us in Mumbai, also our South Asia economy editor Ruchi Bhatia in New Delhi. So Ruchi, I'll start off with you. When it comes to the main takeaways from this budget, and I guess the perception of how balanced it is between all of the different conflicting priorities.
Well, absolutely right. It is a prudent a political budget, but also a prudent budget at the same time. Having said that, the budget did focus on key themes, including creation of jobs as well as funding for the political allies. And this clearly shows that Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government has listened to the mandate. In the polls that were held last month, Prime Minister Modi's party lost out on the majority and he had to bank on allies. And remember, people were also complaining of high cost of living and the fact that there aren't enough jobs for the vast young workforce that is entering into the job market in India. And that is perhaps the reason that Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman's 7th budget focused on creation of jobs. They have allocated as much as 2 trillion rupees for creating jobs, for boosting skills, and they're hoping that that is going to help a lot of the young people that are entering the workforce. These schemes primarily include giving incentives to various employers. Having said that, the focus in this budget was also on how much money can the allies really get for the states that they run. In fact, they were demanding billions of dollars, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi has allocated about 150 billion rupees so far for the southern state of Andhra Pradesh, and has promised a lot more going forward for the eastern state of Bihar as well. Having said that, the focus this time around was also whether middle class will get any benefit, where Sitharaman in her 7th budget has gone ahead and given them some deductions in the tax slabs as well, and that will help them quite a bit.
Abhishek, it was enough for you to lift your growth forecast for India for 2025 to 7.2%. What was driving that upgrade?
Yeah, hi. Thanks for having me on the show. So there were a couple of things very interesting in the budget. First of all, the government doubled down on its commitment to lower the fiscal deficit to 4.9% of GDP. That was in line with our expectations. But what that does is it lowers long-term borrowing costs for the government as well as for the private sector. So that's a big boost for the private sector. In addition to that, the government also increased its overall spending for the year thanks to a large record dividend from the RBI. Apart from this, one of the biggest sectors, one of the biggest risks facing India's manufacturing ambitions has been this risk of mismatch between demand and supply for skilled labor. And with this budget, the government has made its intentions clear that is now going to start addressing that risk. So overall, all of these factors led us to upgrade our GDP forecast for the current fiscal year from 7% to 7.2%. This is ahead of consensus expectations, but this brings it in line with the RBI's own forecast.
Ruchi, when it comes to the biggest winners and losers, what have we sort of assessed so far?
Well, as Abhishek pointed out, youth clearly one of the big winners, also the states that got a pound of the flesh from Prime Minister Narendra Modi. But besides that, several other sectors where the government has said that they will be looking to spend a lot more. A case in point being the manufacturing sector, where the government has gone ahead and has reduced the taxation for new manufacturing units from 40% to 35%. Now, the infrastructure spending has been maintained at almost 11 trillion rupees. Besides that, the middle class that will get more money now in their hands to be able to spend a lot more, and that the government is hoping will boost demand going forward. Now, also on precious metals, including gold, where the custom duties have been reduced, which will mean that the end beneficiary will be the consumer, where the prices will go down for the yellow metal. The rural economy also got about about 2.6 trillion rupees of funding from the government, and that they're hoping that that will clearly help. Having said that, on the losers, people who are investing in the markets are the ones who are losing out, because the taxation there for long-term capital gains, as well as the STT, the Securities Transaction Tax, that has been raised.